Okay, I have a question for you. Is an apple that was grown in the 1950s the same as an apple today? Actually, a study was done in 2004 which assessed the components of the fruits and vegetables comparing 1950 to 1999 and found that the fruits and vegetables that they tested in 1999 had a much lower level of calcium, iron, riboflavin, and vitamin C. Other research suggests that zinc, vitamin B6, and vitamin E levels are also decreasing within the produce grown in the United States. So why is this the case? Well, let's take a look at the decreasing mineral levels in our foods. To do this, we're going to start with a graph that was published in a report in 2008 by the International Zinc Association out of Belgium and the International Fertilizer Industry Association out of France. As you can see, there is a specific band in North America that is concerning. The issue is that these lands have been tested and found to be low in their levels of zinc and in the soil. The interesting thing about this particular area is that a huge amount of farming goes on in these lands. In fact, 46% of our produce in the US comes from California and 40% comes from Mexico. You could see how the zinc deficiency in the soil would directly affect the plants that are supposed to absorb these nutrients. And that's actually what's found. The zinc is lacking in the soil, so it will be lacking in the plants that we eat. Although this map represents only zinc deficiencies, as we said earlier, calcium and iron also have been shown to be decreasing in the food we eat. So a possible assumption is that the ground is decreasing in concentrations of these minerals, so we aren't getting the minerals we need out of our food. The lack of minerals in these areas can be largely attributed to overfarming. This is when farmland isn't given a period of time to have minerals reintroduced into the soil, either naturally through groundwater, which enriches the soil, or through crop rotation, which causes the varied plants that are planted to add nutrients back into the soil. On top of there being decreased levels of minerals in our soil due to excess farming, the depleted levels that are left can be blocked by phosphate-based fertilizers used in the US, which partially block plants from absorbing iron and copper. This leads to further lower levels of those minerals in our foods. Okay, so you can see that there's an issue of overfarming and mineral depletion, but now let's also talk about vitamin deficiencies. So in 2005, in a research article entitled Prevalence and Correlates of Vitamin D Deficiencies in US Adults, in a cohort they studied, which was very representative of the US population, 41.6% of these people had deficiencies in vitamin D. Okay, so why does that matter? Well, vitamin D is in charge of regulating cell replication. So if you want to control which cells are replicated and slow certain cell growth you don't want replicated in your body, then having adequate levels of vitamin D is really important. In fact, the same article that I just referenced said this: mounting evidence suggests that vitamin D deficiency could be linked to several chronic diseases, including cardiovascular disease and cancer. Given that vitamin D deficiency is linked to some of the most important risk factors and leading causes of death in the United States, it is important that health professionals are aware of this connection and offer dietary and other intervention strategies to correct vitamin D deficiency. So getting adequate vitamin D in our system is clearly important, and clearly it's not happening at the rates we need. So let's talk about another vitamin. Vitamin B absorption is a more common concern in the US. In 2002, it was found that people less than 60 years old in the US, 20% of them were marginally deficient in vitamin B12. People older than 60 years old had a much harder time digesting B12 and had even higher levels of B12 deficiency. So why should we be concerned if we are marginally deficient in B12? Well, B12 helps form red blood cells, nerve cells, and brain cells. So if you want to have a healthy cardiovascular and nervous system, you need to have sufficient levels of B12. And as we talked about earlier, as you age, your ability to absorb vitamins like B12 decreases significantly. With that in mind, taking a supplement that maximizes your ability to absorb it is very important. This is why you need to supplement with not just any vitamin or mineral complex. You want to make sure that you aren't deficient in anything, so taking a supplement that prioritizes bioavailability is really important. When people hear that word, they wonder, what does that mean? So bioavailability in our context means that we strive to have a supplement that gives your body the maximum possibility of passing over the intestinal wall of the digestive system and into the bloodstream. Doterra has placed a specific focus on bioavailability as they've created their various supplements. Let me tell you about a few of the ways in which they've created their supplements to ensure you get the most out of them. First of all, Doterra has a vitamin mineral complex called Microplex VMz. They have done a few really unique things that the vast majority of mineral complexes don't do. The first of these is that these minerals are chelated. What that means is that Doterra has exposed their minerals to amino acids, which attach to the outside of them. Why is that important? Well, your body is very sensitive to amino acids because amino acids are the building block of proteins. Because I have a son, I like to explain things in children analogies, and so let me explain this chelation process or the absorption of minerals in a Lego analogy. So my son likes to build Lego sets, and a lot of times he'll be looking for a specific Lego piece to try and finish a Lego set. And when he finds that Lego piece, it's oftentimes attached to another Lego. So rather than taking it apart and taking it over to the ship or whatever he's building, he'll take both pieces, the piece that he needs and then a piggybacking piece. He'll then go over to the ship, take off the piece, and attach it up to the ship or Lego set, whatever he's building. So our body is like this, or our mineral absorption is like this when our minerals are chelated. So in this analogy, our Lego piece that we want would be the amino acid, and the chelated or the mineral attached to it makes it chelated. It's piggybacking on and it gets absorbed into the body. Your body wants amino acids because they help build proteins. It really wants to have those. So it'll pull those in anytime it can. So having that chelation makes sure that you get as many minerals into your system as you can. Another thing that Doterra does that is very unique is that they expose their vitamins to a healthy bacterial yeast called Saccharomyces cerevisiae. When this yeast interacts with various vegetables, it creates a glycoprotein matrix, which is just really a fancy way of saying something that looks like food to the body. The vitamins then attach to this matrix, and when ingested, they're more easily able to be pulled over the intestinal wall and into the bloodstream. One more thing that is unique about Doterra's vitamins is that they make your fat-soluble vitamins very, very easy to digest. A lot of people don't know that in order to absorb your fat-soluble vitamins, you need to eat them with fat. Well, Doterra went a step further and included their fat-soluble vitamins A, D, and E in the omega oil supplement called Z-Omega that we'll be talking about in a couple lessons. Because those fat-soluble vitamins are mixed directly into the omega capsule, it heightens the chance that you'll be able to absorb it. So this has been a short introduction into Microplex VMz. We're glad that we could help you understand a little bit more about the importance of taking a high-quality supplement, and look forward to learning more with you about Doterra's other supplements they offer.